Welcome to the Rob and Kale podcast. Rob Sanders.
Some would be entertained by it. Some would be horrified by
Kale,
it.
Carolina Jackpot Hall.
All would be interested in it.
Rob and Kale podcasts.
Let's go.
And welcome in to the Rob and Kale podcast. I'm Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining me. I come to you from Columbia, South Carolina. My buddy, Carolina Jackpot, the #1 Gamecock YouTuber on the planet. He's not in the Big L. He's in the upstate. Welcome to the program, sir.
Good evening, guys. Hope everyone's doing great today. Precursor before I start this podcast that I put out a video a little while ago, the 2022 NC State Wolfpack college football season picks and predictions. I was going through their schedule, and I got to their game against Louisville, and I mentioned particular individual being a known liar and piece of human waste, and I referred to it as Coach Dave Doran. I meant to refer to that as Coach Scott Satterfield. So Mr. Doran, Coach Doran, if you watch that video, I'm sure you probably did. I apologize.
Okay, so leading off the show, Jackpot wants you to know that he's wait a minute. Virtual Jackpot can help us with this. I've got the perfect virtual Jackpot for that. So basically, Jackpot said something and he feels bad about it, where he kind of ran Dave Doran into the ground, but he wasn't really talking about Dave Doran. He was actually talking about Scott Satterfield.
And I said something on here I didn't mean to.
Exactly. So
Exactly.
With that, Scott Satterfield is a piece of shit. Dave Doran is not in the eyes of Jackpot. Got it. Is that what you wanted to lead off the show with, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Jackpot wants you to know who his favorite pieces of shit are. By the way, Jackpot, I've added new Jim Cornette stuff to our wall, including this, which made me laugh really hard.
You fucking raccoon pelt-headed piece of shit.
I've never heard him. I don't know where I found that. And I was like, I've never heard him call somebody that. And it's like, okay. And then there was one other one. Oh, this one's really good too. Here we go.
You know, can you say the same things to my face when I'm standing in front of you that you want to say to my answer machine? If not, then lose my number, motherfucker, because you're pissing me off.
Exactly. So you may or may not get into some of those tonight. I mean, little itty bitty things that I've added to the program.
If you will.
Exactly.
I can't believe he called somebody a raccoon pellet.
Exactly. What's that?
Can't believe he called somebody a raccoon pelt-headed piece of shit.
Called him a rackhead. He got and then what's it? Oh, I mean, we've got this one.
But you're a big fat fucking pussy.
Exactly.
That's all funny timing.
And then
I'm getting pissed because you're fucking with me, and it's not cool, and we're gonna have a situation.
Yeah, we're gonna have a situation. That's how that works. Anyway, there you go. I'm making the show better, Jackpot. Where we could probably take calls later, and I could just answer them as Jim Cornette.
Hello. Okay.
Exactly. I mean, I could probably get away with that. Anyway, we're gonna take calls here in a little bit. Let's thank our sponsors, Callaway's Bar and Grill out in West Columbia. Oh, and just for Bible Belt Beauties, I do have that as well. Yes.
This is a giant cock.
I had to explain that to my wife. She's like, "What the hell is that?" She's over here. Why are two 40-plus-year-old men over there talking about giant cocks on the podcast? I don't know. I don't know what our problem is. Anyway, the Callaway's Bar and Grill, Callaway'sBarandGrill.com. Go and order some wings, have some cool beer, play retro video games. The only Golden Tea Lounge in the Midlands, Callaway's Bar and Grill, Callaway'sBarandGrill.com. Also, Story Time with Uncle Jackpot, brought to you by Dennis Wilson from B&C Trucking and Transport, who I went and had lunch with this week. Man, he loves him some Jackpot. He wants him a Jackpot tube top. I know he does. We just got to get the one that's properly bedazzled And because he doesn't want like the simple black sequins. I mean, he wants like the silver. So I mean that costs a little bit more money. So we gotta work on that. But story time with Uncle Jackpot brought to you by Dennis Wilson, DNC Trucking and Transport.
Yeah, it sucks to be a Gamecock. It's been 3,142 days since my team has beaten Clemson on the football field. We're so shitty that we kick players out of 7-on-7 tournaments that wouldn't have come to our shit school anyway. It sucks to be a Gamecock. Go Tigers.
All facts there from Uncle Jackpot. Thank you for reading that for Dennis Wilson, DNC Trucking and Transport. All right, Jackpot, I sent you something late. We talked about the all-time SEC running backs the other day, and I thought we'd hit the SEC quarterbacks tonight. And I found an article from FanBuzz, and where they rated their top 21. And I thought we'd run through some of these, and we'd kind of get your reaction, and then get some of the reaction from some of the folks that listen to the program. But some of these I'm like, okay, and some of them are guys I just never really heard of, to be honest with you. But we could start with number 21, which is Jared Lorenzen from Kentucky. I don't have a problem with that. He still owns SEC records for passing attempts in a season with 559 and for a career. So, I mean,
I don't. Okay.
Okay.
I think they could have probably found another number 21 there. I mean, he was a gimmick. I mean,
so he was just a chunky boy playing quarterback in your mind.
It was a gimmick. I mean, he wasn't good. Most passing attempts. I mean, that's not. I mean, what? I mean, what? I mean, anybody could do that. I mean,
Yeah. Well, apparently, I mean, hey,
he's dead 21. Though. I mean, I don't want to bash him, but just I mean, we could be talking about players from the 40s too, and they're dead too. So,
yeah.
That's not coming out right or the way I want it to.
Number 20 on the list is Drew Lock, which from Mizzou, and I know that a lot of folks, they get upset.
And I said something on here I didn't mean to.
Oh, that's okay, Virtual Kale. But Drew Lock threw for 44 touchdowns, a single season record for touchdown passes, 44 in a season. Fourth highest passing yardage total as a junior, with right at 4,000 yards. Two-time All-SEC selection, and finished with 109 career total touchdowns. But I'm sure that SEC fans will tell me, fuck him, he played at Mizzou, right?
That's right. I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
You don't have a problem with him in the top 20. All right, let's look at number 19 is Eric Zier from Georgia. Led the Bulldogs from 91 to 94. Left college football as SEC's career leader in passing yards. And would finish inside the top 10 of the Heisman Trophy voting in both 93 and 94. First team All-American as a senior. Do you remember him being that good?
Yeah, he was pretty good. He lost to the Gamecocks in 93. That was the year the Comrade played.
Well, played is a very.
That was the year the Comrade was on the team as a member of the team. 1993. So yeah, he was okay. I mean, those teams weren't very good.
Eli Manning of Ole Miss at number 18 set or tied 45 passing records during his Ole Miss career. Was named first team All-American in 2003. Finished third in the Heisman voting behind Jason White and Larry Fitzgerald. All that. Led Ole Miss to its first 10-win season at the program since 1971 team.
Can you name anything else that Jason White did after winning the Heisman Trophy?
I mean, I'm sure he sold a lot of insurance.
I would have thought Eli would have been higher up the list than that.
Number 18, according to this list. Number
Eli
17,
actually was one that did more with himself, with his career when he got to the NFL, I guess. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he has more. I think he has more Super Bowl rings than Peyton does. So there's that. Yeah. David Green at Georgia is number 17 on the list. Ended his career as the SEC's winningest quarterback with 42 wins, all-time leader in both passing yards and total offense. His senior year in 2004 was his most efficient, throwing 20 touchdown passes against only 4 interceptions. But that, to me, just seems like you're a game manager, in my opinion. Maybe it was
20 touchdowns. Yeah, that's not. Well, I mean, well, I mean, you know, I don't know. Things were a little bit different then. They were more run heavy, I'm sure. I mean, it's fucking Georgia, you know.
It's fucking Georgia. They're going to run the ball. 16 was Joe Namath at Alabama. I mean, completely different era. I'm not going to sit here and throw numbers at you because they were doing completely different things. They called him, you know, the greatest athlete that was ever coached by, is what Bear Bryant said about him. So there's that. When you think about LSU and all the quarterbacks that they've run through there, you know, their all-time leading passer is not the guy that got high on cough syrup. It's not Joe Burrow. It's actually
Is it
Tommy
John
Hodson.
David Booty?
No, it's Tommy Hodson. He
Oh,
led
yeah.
LSU to 2 SEC championships in '86 as a freshman, again in '88 as a junior.
I know him well.
Yeah, well, I mean, you didn't really play against him. You guys weren't in the
Oh,
SEC.
yes, we did. Oh, yes, we did.
And, oh, did you play him as an independent? I didn't know that.
No, we played him in 1987 in the Gator Bowl.
Oh, they whipped that ass, didn't they?
He tore our ass up. Had a wide receiver named Wendell Davis. And I was like, 12, I guess. We went to that game, and we rode down there on a bus. It's like there was no tailgating involved, nothing. It's like we left from we drove from Greenville to Columbia, I guess, and parked, got on the bus, went to Jacksonville, got off, went to the football game, got back on the bus, came back home. There was no tailgating, no party, none of that. And it was fucking hot too. It was, it was right after Christmas, but it's Jacksonville, so it's humid as fuck all year round. I think it was like 80 degrees that day. And I had swamp ass. My 12-year-old self did. I had like sweat running down my butt crack the entire game. And we got our ass kicked. So yeah, that was awful.
Jackpot swamp ass tonight. My God.
What an awful experience.
What an awful experience. I mean, that bus ride back had to be shitty too after you got your damn dick handed to you.
No, but it felt good because I got to sit on those plush seats and I could scratch my butt.
Shit. Moving on at number 14.
I wasn't going to scratch my butt and around a bunch of LSU fans.
Not to hell with all that. To hell with all that. Great, man. We're going to talk about Manning in a moment. And I mentioned Manning made a mistake. Is it a mistake to go to Texas? So we'll talk about that in just a second. But we're getting through these quarterbacks, the quarterback rankings from FanBuzz here for the SEC. Bryce Young at Alabama is at number 14. His career's not over yet. I don't think he should be that high. Steve Spurrier at Florida. I didn't know this, but he had 5,290 yards of career total offense at Florida. And this is in the fucking 60s. He was their whole team. I mean, he really, really was. So Steve Spurrier should be on the list. Pat Sullivan at Auburn won the Heisman Trophy in 1971. Okay. Now here's the name I don't really agree with is Tim Couch at Kentucky at number 11. Jackpot, help me here, brother.
Well, I mean, guys, statistically, he put up some good numbers, but the rest of the team kind of failed him.
He was 12-11 over 2 seasons. I mean,
really?
Fuck. Yeah, 12-11 over 2 seasons. I mean, yeah, great. He was the whole fucking team, but then, whatever. They were 12-11. So he was a 2-time Heisman finalist. Okay. AJ McCarron at Alabama's at number 10. 77-15 touchdown to interception ratio. He was a game manager in my mind. I don't think he should be a top 10 quarterback, but
yeah.
Chris Leak from Florida is at number 9. Okay.
He was bad at. I remember I worked in the Charlotte, North Carolina area when he was in high school. He was badass. Played for Independence.
Independent, yeah.
Yep, that was where the Dutch Fort coach was the head coach there at the time.
Yep. Aaron Murray at Georgia's at number 8. God damn.
Who made this list up?
I'm just telling you, this is the list, and I sent it to you.
Okay.
So I didn't write it. Tua Tagovailoa at number 7 for Alabama. He played in 32 games, threw 87 passing touchdowns. That's pretty good.
Well,
Johnny
for fucking
Manziel,
hype, you'd think he'd be number 1, but
right? Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M is at number 6. First freshman to win the Heisman Trophy in 2012. I don't know. I'm not a Johnny Manziel guy.
I'm not either. I mean, what did he ever do after that? I mean,
yeah, he wasn't.
He was just a dumpster. He's just a fucking dumpster juice human being. That has to account for something.
Scam Newton at Auburn, number 5 on the list. 1 season, and that gets you into this top 10. Okay.
Speaking of dumpster juice human beings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Burrow at LSU was at number 4. I mean, he played, 2 seasons at LSU and was a hell of a quarterback for the 1 season and was really good his first season too. But
if he'd been there all 4 years and played like he did, or leading up to like he did, he would be number 1 on this list by far.
The funny thing is that everyone talks about lame Urban Meyer and being Urban Meyer can, he gets the most out of his quarterbacks, but yeah, he sent Joe Burrow packing. That tells you a little bit about Urban Meyer. So there's
weird.
That.
But I mean, he got a bunch of. I mean, look what they did with Justin Fields up there.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's crazy.
Danny Werfel is number 3 from Florida. I mean, his numbers are just stupid good. SEC Player of the Year twice, won the Maxwell Award Heisman Trophy. Gators were 96 national champions. I mean, that he was just really great. Now, here's where it gets interesting. They have Peyton Manning at number 2.
Okay.
And Manning finished runner-up to Charles Woodson for the 97 Heisman. Should have won the Heisman. I mean, I think they were just trying to give it to a defensive player that year, to be honest. I mean, I thought Manning was the better player that year. But then number 1 goes to Tim Tebow at Florida. They called him the greatest quarterback in college football history. Get the fuck out of here.
I don't know about that.
That's what they call him, the greatest quarterback in college football history. 3-time first-team All-SEC selection. Led Florida to a 13-1 record in the national championship in 2008. 2007 Heisman Trophy season was the best in SEC history for a quarterback. 55 total touchdowns were an SEC record. 23 rushing touchdowns were also a record. Okay.
Best in college football history.
Yeah. Over Peyton Manning. Okay. Anyway.
No way he's better than Vinny Testaverde.
Vinny Testaverde played at Miami, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that, but yeah, Vinny Testaverde. What about him? What about Tony Rice at Notre Dame, by God? Lisa says Tebow should be on the list, but not number 1. Okay. All right. Well, Jackpot, let's talk a minute about Arch Manning, and then we'll get into the calls. He goes to Texas. I think he should be able to go wherever the hell he wants to go, but it makes you wonder, what is it that Texas is going to give him that is better than everybody else? Because let's just be honest.
Maybe he's underage. He wants to drink, and knows his coach at Texas will give him some alcohol.
Okay, if that's the way that you want to go.
Never mind. He keeps that to himself.
Right. Well,
I don't know. I don't know. Is this guy really? I don't know. Is this guy really as good as he's hyped up to be? Because, I don't know. Look at and they've been talking about this on and nobody's really discussed this. They've been talking about it on various podcasts, and I watched the Zach Smith podcast. He was talking about it, and he was talking about the not so voice of college football, Mr. Rogers. Was They were talking about it also on there. He doesn't like. I mean, the level of competition he plays against looks like seventh graders. And
I watched one of the videos, and I mean, and he looks like, he was on a weight program, and the guys trying to tackle him were, little fellas. I mean, like they had no business being on the field with him.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of like the Jordan Birch thing to me. Like played against a bunch of slow white dudes that are running like 5'9s. I mean, I don't know.
Taylor Man says it may be nepotism. Okay.
And then Zach Smith also went on to talk about how, and this makes a lot of sense too, like those Elite 11 camps and, these other games and stuff where they they go to showcase their talents. This guy wants no part of that. He doesn't participate in any of that stuff. So like, I mean, it's weird. Like, is he, like maybe he doesn't want to get exposed? I don't know, but like they're like, a competitor would actually want to participate in those kind of events, so to compete against other elite athletes.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, but the other side of it too is that people talk about money and all that. I mean, the kid's not gonna have to worry about money, for goodness sake. I mean, that's not. I mean, coming from the Manning family, that's not a big deal. The big thing though for me is that Quinn Ewers, the young man that went to Ohio State, shook them up for over $100,000 in NIL money, and then left without taking a snap up there to come down to Texas. Now he's going to have essentially a Manning on his tail here shortly. Wow, what's going to go on with that? I honestly don't know. That's
Well, if he's that good, he won't have to worry about it. He'll keep the job,
I'm with you. All right, let's take calls. 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. Shout out to Mr. Savage College Football. To Gray Man says, and this is a logical thing here. He wants to be developed by Sark. He likes Austin, etc. End of story. And look, and you were talking about that. Drop it, nothing to see here. I'm not saying he took any money to go there. I'm just saying that I don't know if that's if it's Sark and that's who he wants, then okay, fine. Let's go out to the phones. Welcome into the program. Good evening.
What's going on, fellas?
What's up, buddy?
No, not much. Just hanging out. And, I'm about tired of hearing Georgia fans cry or talk crap on Archie Manning for going to Texas.
Sure.
Archie Manning going to Georgia would have been like the equivalent of a elite defensive player going to Tennessee. And maybe, obviously, not in a troll way, but like it's an offensive-minded head coach. He's going there to play offense. Like Georgia, and if there's anything that's been proven in Kirby Smart's time, is if I'm not a running back or a tight end, I don't want to go to Georgia as an offensive player because I'm not going to get to showcase my talent. I'm not going to get developed. I mean, that's just my thought on it.
Let me ask you this. You can make an argument that staying upright is important to be a quarterback. I'd rather be behind that Georgia offensive line than the Texas line right now. Would you?
Oh, no, that's completely fair. That's completely fair. I was just saying, as far as like an offensive, at least with quarterbacks, Kirby Smart does not have the best track record with him.
Look, I rip Kirby Smart a lot, but and he has a record of all that. But think about this. Kirby Smart got a guy to win the national title and break the 40-year streak they had at Georgia that probably wouldn't start for a SoCon team. I mean, and he was able to go and beat Alabama toe to toe. So maybe there's something to that. I don't know.
That's fair. But if you watch that game, Stetson Bennett almost lost that game for him. It was the defense that bailed him out.
I mean, he still had to go out there and take snaps though against Alabama with Will Anderson out there, who's
100%.
the best player in
100%.
the country, in my
I
opinion.
completely agree with that.
Mhm.
Completely agree. Another thing I want to talk about, Billy Napier over there in Florida, just self-imploding right now. I don't know if y'all been following that at all, but he's just running people off. Seems like
he's penning letters to the fan base, which is not. You don't need to be penning letters to the fan base talking about your philosophies in fucking July. That's not what you want right now.
As a Tennessee fan, I've seen all the bad coaches in the world. Okay, like let's just be honest with ourselves on that one. He's a lot like, I see the worst parts of Pruitt and Jones in him. And that's not really a obviously I'm not comparing him to both, because he could be a good coach, could be a solid 7-5, 8-4 win team, or solid 8-4, 9-3 winning coach, But just the stuff that he's done since he's been there, very comparable. If you want current, I've said this before, I believe it was on this show, that if you want current production out of your current roster, you don't smack talk what you have. You don't TV or get in a conference and say, "Hey, yeah, we just need more players." Yeah. One of those guys that bleed orange and blue. I mean, I would rather have that than some prima donna that's asking for millions and millions of dollars. But that's just me. And then I saw the description of the video, or the title of the video, and it was talking about best SEC quarterbacks of all time, and not that he's the best quarterback of all time. I'm just talking about based off arm talent. I always really liked watching Tyler Bray play football. I always thought he had a really good arm, and played really good ball. But that's really all I got. I appreciate y'all taking my call. But,
all right, man. Have a good night, man. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, there you go. So he thinks that Georgia fans are upset about Arch Manning going to Texas.
Mayhem Matthew says, Jackpot, you would know what's trash. You pull it's 2 L's there, for a college football team full of trash. Yeah, whooped your ass a couple years back too.
Good point. All right, let's go back out to the phones.
Whoop your ass.
Welcome into the program. Good evening.
Hey, how's it going? I think I'll touch up on the Georgia fans thing. I think they just need to be happy for the next 60 years, like the last time they won one in 1985. They just need to let go of the Arch Manning thing. It's great. They won the national championship, but they're going to get brought back down to reality here soon. Their players, they know about like 2% of what they got returning was Stetson Bennett. Everybody else left for the draft. It's going to be just like every other year when they won a bowl game or lost the bowl game, rather, because they didn't get to go to playoffs and they didn't try. We're going to see the whole season play out like that for them this year. Because they're just not going to care, because they don't have a shot at it. People keep talking trash about the recruiting at Texas. You go back to 2019, even 2018, when they had those back-to-back recruiting classes. A lot of those recruiting classes, they didn't pan out. 2019 in particular, they had 4 out of 20 or 6 out of 26 players actually stick on that team. Good majority of them left. So this business of, Texas has had talent in the past and hadn't done anything with it. Well, they hadn't really had the talent. They've had freak accidents. I think somebody had a stat out there recently. Something like during Herman's tenure, they only had like 14, 16 max scholarship offensive linemen at once on a team. And now they've gone and recruited like 2 5-star offensive linemen. I'm 34 years old. I can't remember the last time they had 2 5-star offensive linemen. I don't think it's ever happened. I think what Steve Sarkisian's doing is monumental. And the fact that he's gotten 2 1.0 quarterbacks, great. You can say what you want about Arch Manning. I don't know that he's the number 1 player, but the floor for him, like failing, is probably higher than 2/3 of every quarterback in every conference, I would say. So I'll take it. Just interested to hear y'all's thoughts.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for calling the program. I don't know. Here's the thing. Texas has got Ewers, who we don't know much about because he didn't take any snaps at Ohio State. The only thing I really know about Manning is that he's a Manning. He may end up being the shits. Who knows?
I mean, right now, all we know is the last name, and that he plays really well against inferior competition. I mean, he's like a generation removed. I mean, it's been 20 years since another one of those fuckers played high school. Well, 25 years since another one of them played high school football. I mean, you don't. I don't know.
Out to the phones we go. Welcome into the program.
Hello guys, how y'all doing tonight?
Good.
Hello, how are you?
Good. I just Tom here, the Alabama guy in the comment section. But anyway, I know probably Megan's probably upset right now that Stetson Bennett ain't on that list of top SEC passers.
Sir. It's Peg and Megan, not Beggin. Peg. Make sure you get it correct.
Peg and Megan. Yeah.
Exactly.
Peg and Megan's probably upset that Stetson Bennett ain't on that list. I mean, he's he wears a Stetson Bennett jersey all day, every day. But there was a guy at Alabama that I was blessed to watch him play high school, and due to the politics of the era he played in, I think Andrew Zal would have been a lot better quarterback had Alabama had a different coach. There was some politics with him and Watts, but I thought he could have been a lot better than what he was there during that era.
Sure.
Some of the other guys, I can't remember his name, but Jackpot, you might remember. Who was that long hair guy that played quarterback for South Carolina in the early 90s?
Tannehill?
Yeah. What was your thought? Was he would you think he was a great passer?
He was.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't. He was a little bit erratic. He threw his fair share of interceptions. I mean, the teams he played on, to be honest, I mean, they weren't that great. I mean, he didn't have a lot of great talent around him, and it all begins and ends with the lines of scrimmage. He didn't have that. Didn't have real good defense, but it is what it is. He was okay.
And another guy Alabama had that you probably never heard of, and was Scott Hunter. He set the school record in '69 versus Auburn for 485. That record stood until this year, till Bryce Young threw for 500 yards versus Arkansas.
So, I didn't go to any of those games in the '60s, so I don't have any clue about that. So.
No, but it was a record that was, I thought, I thought it was amazing. All these years we had a guy from the Bear Bryant era had the single game passing record, and it stood for almost over 50 something years. I mean, until this year. So I thought that was kind of amazing piece of history. Billy Napier, they didn't know, wasn't that kid that one of the what started that was there was a kid at Clemson that left Clemson and went to Florida. Now he left Florida. Is that correct?
Yeah, DeMarcus Bowman is in the transfer portal again, and I don't know what the hell's going on with all that, but
yeah, I think that reflects bad. I mean, you got to question the character of that kid because he's been at two places and he's already transferred from two places in a year. So that tells you right there, there's a red flag there.
All right, well, caller, hey, I appreciate you calling the program and educating us on 1969 Alabama football. Did not know that.
Yes, sir. Anytime. Yes,
appreciate
sir.
it. Have a great day. I don't know anything about Alabama football.
Do you think Josh Dobbs should have been on the list?
And you should be on there for his forehead. We could put the whole list on his forehead and tattoo it if we wanted to.
Man.
Hey, Jackpot, my wife last night was woken up by, we had an earthquake here. What was the magnitude? Was it like a 3.4 earthquake here, right, not far from our house? Hey, that's some shit. It was shaking.
I read something about that on Twitter.
crazy with an earthquake last night. James says Bowman will be a Gamecock next. It wouldn't surprise me. Hell, if I'm Shane Beamer, go and throw it out there. I mean, hell, we'll see what happens. Who knows, man?
He had something. What was I going to say? Last week, I guess it was last week. Maybe it was the week before. I can't remember. They kind of run together when I'm like living out of a suitcase. But Spurs Up Show dude did a top 5 on Twitter of top 5 Gamecock quarterbacks of all time, and he had Phil Petty on there as his number 5 Gamecock quarterback of all time. I don't know. I don't know if I
above him.
Steve Tannehill, Connor Shaw, Steven Garcia,
and Todd Ellis, right?
No, he wasn't. He didn't have him because he threw too many interceptions. Well, the thing is, when Todd Ellis played, I mean, that was a brand new offense they were running, that run and shoot offense. He also threw more touchdowns than anybody as well. And I mean, all he had to do, and I kind of tried to educate him a little bit. You know, the 1989 South Carolina team was fucking undefeated. They were like 7-0 when NC State came into town, and they tore his knee up in the first quarter, and he missed the rest of the season. His career was over, and we went on to lose 4 out of the next 5 games after he went down. So I mean, he wasn't. I don't know. He was a lot better, I think, than people give him credit for. No one mentioned Sunshine there on that list. He was a pretty good quarterback for South Carolina back in the mid 1970s. He was on the list too. He was on the list with Phil Petty, Tannehill.
Jeff Grant should be there too.
Yeah,
Jeff Grant should be on the list too, in my opinion. But
yeah.
Super chat from Ethan says, "Be up in South Carolina tomorrow to work on a transformer that lights up Clemson Stadium. Might sabotage it." Okay. Any good places to eat? Yes. Bible Belt Beauty is correct. Go to Max Drive-In. There you go. Get yourself some food from there. That's where to go. All right. 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. If you'd like to join us here on the program, final call for calls this evening as we roll along here. Yes,
Frothy Tavern said, "Where was the Publix grocery bagger?"
Perry Orth. That's funny.
Yeah. Orthnato. Hey, at least you worked at Publix. I mean, that is a high-end grocery store. Or, I mean, it's as high-end as we can get in Columbia, South Carolina, right?
Yeah. He's talking about Dak Prescott. Papa B is, as far as an all-time SEC quarterback, I have to put him up there somewhat, right? I don't know.
Who's that?
Dak Prescott. Is he a top 20 all-time SEC quarterback in your mind?
Probably not. He's another one that made, it's like Eli Manning. I mean, he's made more of a name for himself after college than during. I mean, I'm not trying to besmirch his college career or anything, but I mean, I just don't think any of the teams he played on were real good.
Another chat from Ethan says, F. Howard's rock, go Vols. He loves Jackpot. Yeah, everybody loves Jackpot.
Love you too. Go shit on that rock tomorrow.
Brock says he probably didn't put Todd Ellis on the list because Ellis, along with the rest of the Columbia media, can't stand him. There's probably some validity to that. But
boom.
I think that Todd Ellis, I mean, he is the voice of South Carolina football, and I get that, but in the end, I don't really think he gives a shit about what people says about him anymore. I mean, he leaves and goes and does the coach's show, does the games on the weekends, and then, goes wherever the Gamecocks need him to go, and then he's a lawyer the rest of the time. So, I mean, he doesn't give a shit. I mean, I really don't think Todd Ellis cares at all, to be honest. So
I'd like to cross-examine the witness, Your Honor. Boom.
Did you or did you not have drugs? Boom. Yeah. Anyway, that's funny. James says Todd Ellis is a great blowhard. You know, they had the opportunity to do it right, and they could have. What they should have done was let Mike Morgan do, because Mike Morgan was doing basketball and baseball. Just make the smooth transition. Let him go up there and do football too. I mean, Mike Morgan calls football games for the SEC network now. It's not like he's taking a step down, for God's sake. They could have had that, and Mike Morgan would have stayed there till the day he fell off the planet, because that was the job he wanted. But I don't know what's going on down there, to be completely.
Who did the who did the Gamecocks football play-by-play when after Bob Fulton retired until
Charlie Mack Alexander, I believe, was the guy that went right after Bob Fulton.
That's right.
Then they went from there. But
he was decent.
Yeah, he was all right. But the thing that gets me though is that you and I growing up, we grew up with two of the greatest voices, in my opinion, of college football, with Bob Fulton and Jim Phillips up at Clemson. Both of them were just outstanding. I mean, I could still remember listening to Phillips call games and Bob Fulton as well. Bob Fulton's voice up until the day that he passed away was just strong, and you just knew who it was just by hearing him talk. I mean, that's the impressive part of it. He's from that old school era where your voice was all you had.
Yeah.
So,
it's all the way down to the 25-yard line.
Yeah. He was great.
And Jim Phillips was like, I mean, they were talking about it one time on Taylor Radio. They were talking about Jim Phillips and his calls on field goals. And they're like, I mean, it was like a suspenseful minute when somebody would attempt a field goal in a Clemson game, whether you knew it was good or not. Snap the spot, the kid gets up, guess what is it, Jim? Is it kick is Jim? What is it? Kick is
Beth says Larry Munson. Yeah, Larry Munson was great. We can respect talent here on the program. Big Barney Ross. This comes from Big Barney Ross, and if this happens, I'm going to laugh hysterically. Tennessee loses to Vanderbilt. Kentucky loses to Northern Illinois. Tennessee has a 7-win season. Kentucky has 6 wins and makes a bowl game. If they have a 6-win season, they're going to the Who Gives a Fuck Bowl.
Okay.
The fucking toilet bowls where they're going with a 6-win season. So, but I think if all of that happens, then if Tennessee wins 7 games and Kentucky wins 6 games, then South Carolina's probably beaten both of them. And
you would think
South Carolina's going to win 8 games then under that logic. So, yeah. Let's see here. Yes. Eric says that ain't happening. You're probably right. I don't see both teams going 7-6. I don't see that happening.
Oh no, they both went in double digits.
Oh yeah, Kentucky's going 10-2 by God. All right, well, Jackpot, I think we've had a good show. We'll be back at it on Wednesday. This out. And of course, you can download the show. Podcast is up here in just a little bit. If you missed some of it, you can.
James says, "Where's Ziggy's on the bed asleep?"
Ziggy's tired. He probably had a busy day.
Big weekend. Big weekend with Daddy.
There you go. All right. Anyway, so yeah, we appreciate you guys checking out the show, and we'll talk with you on Wednesday.